Hi, I'm Lisa. I never imagined I'd be sitting here, pouring my heart out to strangers, but here I am. This is the story of a line I never thought I'd even approach, let alone cross, or come so dangerously close to crossing. You see, I've been married for 6 years to an incredible man, Eric. We've built a beautiful life together. Our cozy home, 2 cats named Olive and Basil, and endless plans for the future. Eric is the kind of partner you dream about. Kind, loyal, funny, and supportive. But there's another part of this story, one I've never shared with anyone until now. It's about a man who makes my heart race in ways it shouldn't. Eric's father, James. Pauses with a deep breath. Let me take you back to where it all began. The first encounter. The first time I met James was at a family dinner during the early days of dating Eric. He greeted me with a warm handshake and an easy smile that instantly made me feel at home. James was effortlessly charming, the kind of man who filled the room with his presence without even trying. At first, I chalked my reaction up to nerves. Meeting the parents is always a little intimidating, right? But there was something about him that stuck with me. His quick wit, the way his laugh carried, and the way he looked at me like he could see straight into my soul. Eric adored his father, and I quickly understood why. James was everything a dad should be. Attentive, wise, and deeply devoted to his family. A growing connection. As Eric and I grew closer, so did my interactions with his family. Holidays, birthdays, and weekend visits became part of the routine. James was always there, a constant presence. It wasn't until a Thanksgiving dinner 3 years ago that I began to notice my feelings shifting. We were all in the kitchen, bustling around to prepare the meal. I was chopping vegetables when James came over to help. "Need a hand?" he asked, his voice warm and teasing. Our hands brushed as he reached for the cutting board, and I felt a jolt of electricity run through me. I laughed it off, blaming it on the static from the dry autumn air. But deep down I knew it was more than that. From that moment on, I found myself hyper-aware of James. The way his eyes crinkled when he smiled, how he listened intently when I spoke, the subtle but undeniable sense of mutual understanding between us. The internal struggle, the guilt hit me hard and fast. How could I, a devoted wife, feel this way about my father-in-law? I loved Eric deeply, and I knew he loved me too. These feelings felt like a betrayal, not just to him but to myself. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe I was just projecting admiration onto James because he reminded me of Eric in some ways. Maybe it was just a harmless crush, a fleeting feeling that would pass with time. But it didn't pass. If anything, it grew stronger. Every interaction with James felt charged. A casual conversation about books turned into a deep, personal exchange. A shared laugh over a family joke lingered in the air longer than it should have. Crossing the line, almost. One summer evening, the family gathered at James' lake house for a barbecue. Eric and the others were outside, playing a game of cornhole, while I stayed inside to help James clean up. The kitchen was quiet except for the clinking of dishes. I handed James a glass, and our fingers brushed again. This time, neither of us pulled away immediately. He looked at me, his eyes searching mine, and for a brief, terrifying moment, I thought he might say something that could change everything. But he didn't. Instead, he smiled, a sad, knowing smile, and broke the silence. "We'd better get back outside before they start looking for us," he said. And just like that, the moment was over. The breaking point. After that night, I knew I had to confront my feelings. They were no longer something I could ignore or dismiss as harmless. They were real, and they were dangerous. I started pulling away from James, avoiding situations where we'd be alone together. It hurt, but it was necessary. I couldn't risk the possibility of hurting Eric, or the family that had welcomed me with open arms. But even as I distanced myself, the feelings lingered. They crept into my dreams, my idle thoughts, my every interaction with James. Confession and closure. One day, I decided I couldn't carry the weight of my feelings any longer. I needed to talk to someone, and the only person I could trust was my therapist. Through those sessions, I began to unravel the complex web of emotions I'd been tangled in. I realized that my attraction to James wasn't just about him. It was about what he represented. James embodied qualities I admired and craved: stability, wisdom, and a sense of safety. But those qualities didn't belong to him alone. They were present in Eric too. I just lost sight of them in the everyday grind of life. With time and effort, I refocused my energy on my marriage. I planned surprise date nights, took an interest in Eric's hobbies, and reminded myself of all the reasons I fell in love with him in the first place. Reflection. Today I'm in a better place. The feelings I had for James haven't completely disappeared, but they've dulled into something manageable, something I can acknowledge without letting it control me. I've learned that attraction isn't always a choice, but how we act on it is. I chose to honor my marriage, my husband, and the love we've built together. Sharing this story isn't easy, but I hope it serves as a reminder that we're all human, with complicated emotions and imperfect hearts. What matters is what we do with those feelings, how we navigate the murky waters of temptation and stay true to the people we love. Soft music fades out. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever faced a similar struggle or just want to share your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Until next time, take care.